Okay, everybody, this is Brandon from Galaxy Dock Market, your fearless leader here. And today is January 18th, 2026. It's about 7:10 a.m. on Sunday as I bring you this important week ahead market analysis. The title is Silver Bear Trap is Set. And oh boy, we have a big week coming ahead for us. So here's the disclaimer. Pause it, read it. If you agree, please move forward. And of course, all of you not in our membership group, those that are following us on x.com, thank you for following us and check us out for great content. And also thank you so much for subscribing on the YouTube channel. All right, let's get started really quickly. Okay, this is not by accident, folks. The U.S. Mint, right at the market close after the options expiration on January 16th, just previous Friday, they have increased the U.S. Silver Mint prices 82% from $95 to $173. Some sites are saying that it's $92 to $176, but around that region. These are backdated, uncirculated silver eagles, and these are not proofs, but these are uncirculated, sealed coins that basically has repriced at the U.S. Mint to 173. Okay. In the paper market, we saw a lot of volatility for options positioning into the options expiration for the monthly options. And we saw us closing just under $90 after all those shenanigans, right near that $90, 89.99. So what this means is that stage has been set, okay, and that options expiration related price manipulation right after the bell, U.S. Mint goes nuclear, and this is setting the stage for the banks. It sounds like majority of the banks and the sovereign wealth funds and governments are now ready for silvers to explode higher. And, this is something that has been a long time coming. Supply trumps paper, folks. And so get ready. It's going to be an explosive week coming ahead, and hence my title of my market analysis. All right, so the same thing is happening in gold. It basically got repriced from $4,600 to $5,370. Not as high as silver. However, gold and silver is basically telling you something that the world is not all that well. Okay, economy is not doing well, and it's also warning you that there is some geopolitical, maybe domestic and abroad, that is about to blow up. But more importantly, the current fractional reserve banking system is coming to an end, and a new monetary system is being implemented right before your eyes. And then, of course, the Greenland, what's in Greenland, and why are European nations so up in arms about fighting the greatest superpower in the world? And it's almost like a joke. Okay, so basically Denmark, Finland, Britain, Norway, and Danish soldiers, the Dutch, have sent soldiers, and this is how many they sent: 1, 2, 3, the 2, 13, 1. It's just like what, less than 20 soldiers. And so there's something else going on that more than meets the eyes. And it also gives light into the fact that, are these people really allies of the United States? Or is it that they're pushing for perpetual war and threats of war upon the global and American public? And so, just look at the people that are leading this. I mean, this is an absolute joke. And but then the question is, why is our allies threatening war with the U.S.? And of course, the question is also that, were these people really our friends? Or were they never really our friends, pretending to be friends, as long as the printed money kept flowing their way, and that we promised to protect them? Okay, and I think that era is coming to an end under Trump. But keep an eye on Greenland. Greenland is resource rich, metals rich, and this is also a strategic location, just like Alaska is. And, it sounds like Trump, we'll see what happens, is hell bent on getting this. Does that do anything for world peace? No. But the world is becoming protectionist as the printed money spigot is no longer effective in creating the illusion that everything is well. Okay? Remember, bankers take you to war. And of course, don't sleep on what's happening with the Japan's 30-year treasury yield jumping to 3.52%. This is on January 14th. And Japan is the sleeping giant this time. It's the black swan ahead type of sleeping giant. Okay, for a long time, the Japanese yen and also the Japanese bonds was utilized for carry trades, and I believe that is unwinding. And in order for Japan to stop this bleeding, when the yield rises, it means people are selling the bonds. And in order to control that, Japan is the largest holder of U.S. treasuries, and they will sell that to shore up their own 30-year treasury bonds. Okay, it's a vicious, endless cycle that's going to explode coming soon into our markets. So in the coming weeks, okay, I said bakers, but it's bankers. Bankers take you to war. But might as well be bakers at this point. U.S. Mint signaling bullish all-in phase. Okay, what does that mean? It's signaling that the powers that be probably have accumulated enough positions and got rid of their paper short positions significantly enough. Now the pendulum has swung so that it is in the best interest for the banksters, for the global elites, to allow the gold and silver to start skyrocketing higher. Remember, everybody thinks silver is overbought. It's been behaving very methodically. It makes a new high, pulls back slightly, finds a new base, and moves higher. It has not been moving crazy, hyperbolic type of moves, okay? It hasn't even begun to put in a climax top. In fact, it just barely started to move. You'll see. Right now, a few months ago when I was saying that the gold and silver will move like $3 to $5 a day, everybody laughed at me. Now I'm going to tell you that you're going to start seeing gold and silver moving $15 to $30 a day shortly. All right, so let's do some charts and then see where the heck we are in all of these things, and so that we can better prepare. Is the stock market going to crash? What's happening with gold and silver? And then what kind of stocks am I looking at? I'm going to show you all of that right away. It's time to bring back my McClellan Summation Index of the SPX, and it's very important that we talk about this because SPX is now into the last phases of putting in a bullish move that has happened. Okay, and so we need to pay attention to this very carefully. So what we got is now major divergences forming on the RSI. Okay, we're into this kind of that bullish phase that it's moved higher based on January effect and the incessant backstop by the Fed on printed money on the banks that are basically failing. Okay, and for more reasons than one, they're holding toxic U.S. Treasury assets, and also they're super duper short on these silvers with paper shorts, and this is what this is all about. But we have divergences now forming. We may be starting to form like a double top formation within this bullish area, and then we're ready to move down. We have MACD histogram trending lower and basically also forming a bearish divergence. So pay attention to this. McClellan Summation Index is basically warning us that the top is being put in from the previous rally. And commensurate to the type of rally that has taken place, if you notice from these top areas where the previous high cycles were, as we're putting in all-time highs, McClellan Summation Index is divergent. Okay, very important. And what is our put-to-call ratios on the equities shows us? Sorry about my voice, but so basically we are in a very, very bullish zone, and people are just so bullish. This is a contrarian indicator. So people buying put-to calls, the more calls that they buy, put divided by calls is 0.46. We're now in the bounce zone for this to move higher, which means that the stock market is setting up for a top at this point again. And we have a lot of geopolitical issues that are basically forming that is commensurate to such a move that is coming. Gold and silver mainly are telling you. Gold and silver moving like this is warning you that the severe economic / equity market dislocation is coming. So pay very, very close attention. Okay, this put to call ratio needs to be paid attention to. And then, of course, our trusty fear and greed index. Okay, we used to be a few months ago into this fear and extreme fear. Well, that has largely gone. Okay, now the retail bag holders are fully in. Okay, and also some of the smaller hedge funds. So this is a contrarian indicator, right? Everyone thinks we're going to the moon because Fed has our back. Guys, Fed is no longer effective. They are no longer the driver and has been shown to be fraudulent in terms of their activities. Okay, so it's something that you need to pay attention to. Get that out of there. All right. So now we're at the greed level. Okay, so we are looking for a market top, are we not? Right? So let's talk about what's been happening with silver. This is our weekly chart. A lot of you a few weeks ago were saying, oh my gosh, it's topped right here and it's going to go down. It's going to go down to like $40 and everyone's going to get killed, including Toronto Dominion, TD Bank. They basically got absolutely liquefied and decimated on their silver shorts, okay? It's, I always call silver the falling knife going the opposite way. Don't try to catch a falling knife going the opposite way. Your hands will get bloodied. Now, where we are is that last week, it was fairly volatile. All we did was establish a base. I've been telling all of you that that's all we're doing, and this is bullish, and to accumulate physicals and, buy as many of the silver and gold, for that matter, futures calls at these levels. The problem is that gamma is just extremely pumped at this point, and IV percentage and the premiums that you're paying for these contracts is through the roof. Again, my old adage, you either had it before this move happened and you have the discipline to hold it, or you don't. Okay, so that's all that means. Now, a lot of you are pointing out the fact that oh my gosh, there's like a divergence forming. No, it's not. We pulled back and we're probably going to make these higher highs that are happening. In fact, if you take this and just do that, okay, basically, there is no downward divergences in these places. Okay, so we're just moving higher. All the moving averages, folks, are basically curling up. All of the minor moving averages, we got the 20 SMA, 50 SMA, 100, and 200 are all moving higher. And so what do I expect? I think based on what the U.S. Mint has just done after the market closed, so you can really trade on it, is that, going from $95 to $175 is telling you that we are on track from my target of 105 to 117. In fact, I'm here to tell you that we are probably going to blow past that expectations, and here's why. So we are about to make the similar type of measure moves right here, and so this is the breakout area, and what we got is a extension into the 112 region. Okay, and I think really what's going to happen is we're going to be making this move right into that 112 115 area, and then we're going to be taking additional moves higher. Okay, so that same type of a measure move, so through to here, and then over into the next closing area. I think this is where we're going. When you add these two moves from the 1980 into the current breakout of that long 45-year cup and a handle, and into the breakout area, when you combine those, this is the type of move we're going to get. So somewhere between that 112 to 148 into the end of January is what's going to be possible. So I'm calling it right here. So 112 to 148.130 is where we're actually headed. Okay. Now, while we're here, I want to show you something about the cryptos because they've been very, very beleaguered in a way, partly because, especially on the XRP, these are the payment rail system. This is the future of money. This is the future of the new monetary system. XRP is just not a cross-border payment solution. It is a liquidity digital reserve asset that's happening. And so when we have these type of moves where we're basing, okay, and forming this kind of a coiled spring, right? It's basically, this is what's happening right here. Okay, and so this is a bullish triangle that basically is forming. It's testing these bottom ranges right here. I know we blipped a little bit below. Maybe I could even draw that line. I'm doing it very quickly down into this area. Okay, but regardless, it is ready to explode down if it extends into the 2.040 level. Okay. And the stage is set, I believe. Okay, so your time is running out to accumulate XRP at this point. And so last time, a few weeks ago, we back tested into 2.3980, but okay, we hit like in the 2.42 level, and then we came back down. All this is doing is just back testing into the price channel, into the support, building energy to move higher as the big boys like BlackRock accumulate these XRPs, and the banks and the governments accumulate these XRPs for the next move higher. And the next move higher is going to be explosive. It's going to rip your face off. Okay, and you know, you really want these when no one wants it. Remember, sorry, those old pictures that I used to show with people lined up getting ready to buy XRP at 1,000, but nobody wants it around, you know, these $2, $1.99, $1.85 levels, and that's how money's going to be made. Okay, so let's go down. The other one that I'm really big on is obviously World Liberty, and World Liberty is doing the same thing, right? I mean, basically, we're coming back down and finding support right into this area. I mean, there's secondary support down into this area. If it comes down here, you buy it with hand over fist. Okay, but once we explode higher, it's going to move. Once we get above this 1.9 1.89 level, this thing can seriously move into $1 range very, very shortly. Okay, the other one that I've been looking at, pounding the table for, is really Litecoin. Folks, Litecoin is making this nice little inverse head and shoulders formation. So maybe it'll pop down here and come back down and finish that. So we're finishing that right side of the shoulder. Okay, and then so that's kind of what we have. You know, Bitcoin. You know, everybody. I don't talk about Bitcoin much, but I don't know. This seems to me like a nice little bull flag, right? Gonna move higher, folks. All right. If Bitcoin gets back below into this 85, 80, 83 level, I think it potentially can get all the way down to 65, maybe 50,000. You buy it with hand over fist. Not financial advice, but it's something that, you know, technically you should be doing. So let's get back to silver. And, you know, here's the weekly, and then let's move into the daily. And, you know, a lot of you are saying, oh, it's topped, it's stalling out. No, it's not. Look at these tail candles right here. Okay, that's the support right at the green line, which is 80 MA. Okay, and it's still bullish, okay, on its way up. Okay, and a lot of you are saying, well, no, it's bearish. No, everything pulls back. It's going to move higher, folks. All right. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with any of these. All the moving averages are pointing up, straight up. Okay. And it's very, very healthy for it to pull back and find support. Back test that support. It's a real support. Well, this tail candles are showing you that there's support there, right? Let's go look at gold. Gold's not as exciting anymore. It was last year, but the real show is the silver, right? All it's doing is that gold is now breaking out right into this area. Again, a lot of you are saying, oh no, it's diverging. No, it's not. It's pulling back to make that new high again. If anything, if this divergence starts to show something like this, yeah, then I would worry. But there's nothing to worry about in this. Gold is making a methodical move, and all the moving averages are going straight up. You have the MACD pointing a histogram higher. MACD's trending. CCI, yes, it pulled back down. This is what this was. They've been trying to slam the crap out of this, but it's going to be moving higher, folks. What's going on with SPY? Well, S&P 500 index, okay, we got to pay attention to this now because there is divergences and gold and silver is warning about everything, all right? It's kind of stalling out here, aren't we? Okay, we have also on this move out. Now, this is a real divergence, right? But it's still, uh, you know, I want to see something more to this type of a divergence along with this pointing down, okay? But volume does not lie. Most of it is these larger volumes are coming from, the day before you'd have a bullish volume and then we get a sell volume. We have these type of volumes that are basically indicative of selling at the top, okay? So that's what's happening. I mean, you look at the MACD, it's negatively divergent, negatively divergent, negatively divergent here. It's negatively divergent on the CCI, negatively divergent, and crossing over on the stochastic. So there is something big brewing right now in the stock market, and especially on the S&P 500. Okay, PPO ADX forming this bearish signs, right? So right now, what this is doing is it's forming this and trying to form this. So when you have something like this on the PPO ADX, that is warning you that sell-off is about to come. Okay, maybe not tomorrow. It's chopping around, and there's a lot of printed money that's sloshing around in the system, but that's what's happening. Here's a SPY on the daily. It's just, to me, it seems to me that we have some divergences again as it's making all-time highs. It successfully backtested to the 20, but it's making a lower high. Left shoulder, making a right shoulder at this point. Anyways, a rounded top. And the 5 SMA is beginning to curl down, and then ADMA is beginning to curl. 20 still bullish. Flattening of the 50 SMA, 100 and 200, they're all down here. So, but the MACD death cross is about to occur right down here. So you take that as you will. The stock that I've been harping on, and something that basically is going to be a big barometer, and the fact that their accounting practices are suspect, Carvana. Carvana reorganized. They were basically on the brink of bankruptcy 2 years ago. And, it's been going straight up on the heels of subprime. But, people don't mention it, but I'm going to mention it here. Tricolor bankruptcy and all of these debacle that's been going on in the subprime auto market has not gone away. It's just that no one's talking about it. So I'm going to talk about it right now. This Carvana right now is forming major divergences, stalling out at the top. I mean, these red candles should tell you at the stall, something's coming, and the volume is coming down. It's the calm before the storm, folks. I think that, at the very least, this week, we're going to start testing down into that ADMA and the 20 SMA, 327, from its currently where we are is 442, 441. There's a lot of meat on this bone, and it just fraud eventually will surface to the top, and I think this company is fraudulent. Okay, there's no way that they could be turning profit off of their subprime auto loans, especially with all the delinquencies at all-time highs right now on the subprime auto loans. Okay, repo rates are through the roof. Okay, so here we go. Okay, CCI negatively divergent, stochastic is negatively divergent. PPO ADX forming that again, this type of formation now. It's beginning to form that bearish formation and then accumulation distribution. If everything was fine, we would not be having this type of a negative divergence. And people are selling, folks, while everybody's getting so excited about Carvana. So that's kind of what we have for now. So black swans are everywhere. You want to watch that JPY 30 bond yield. I think it's going to continue to rise. And if you haven't noticed, the 10-year yield, okay, TNX, okay, let me bring this up real quick because I think we need to show that. All right. If everything was great, we would not be at 42.31. Despite all the cuts, this is what's happening. Okay. So, and then dollar is on the heels of the Venezuelan oil capture that are being sold in U.S. dollars, trying to revive that petrodollar reserve currency status. That's going to be short-lived. But this is a serious problem with the 10-year yield. People are dumping that. That might be our ally, Japan, doing that to save their own skin. And that's what's happening at this point, folks. Okay, so U.S. Mint reprices silver and gold. What comes next? What comes next is a parabolic move even in the paper markets, you can't basically hide from that anymore. Supreme Court decision on tariff delayed to Wednesday? No, it got delayed into June. Okay, so this is, this is an absolute joke. Okay, the fact that they can't even rule on a simple thing goes to tell you how tainted and how rotted our entire government is at the core. And why are we going after Greenland? I think you know why. I've explained to you it's strategic, but we're after rare earth metals. Trump is setting United States up for a bankruptcy, and that's what's happening. Okay, so watch the U.S. Mint pricing silver from 92 to 176, gold from 4,600 to 5,620 bodes well for those that are basically stacking physical gold and silver and also buying the futures options. See, they can screw with you on the futures market by raising margins. Options, basically it's a zero-sum game. If you're wrong, you only lose that amount of money. On the futures, the losses are infinite. EU nation sending troops with dog sleds. I have 20 troops. There's something more going on in Greenland than that, but it shows the optics are really bad, that our allies and the people that we used to support as Americans are basically turning against us. Silver Slam has largely failed. Coiled spring, okay. COMEX is in deep shit, okay. Fed expected QE, highly inflationary, right? Everyone thinks that Fed's going to continue to pump money, but, you can give drug addict more and more and more drugs until his heart stops, and that's exactly what Fed is doing. And also it exposes the Fed's quote-unquote omniscience and their ability to manage maximum employment and 2% inflation rate. I don't know where they came up with that. Probably like same thing as the 6 feet social distancing during the COVID era, which is all bullshit. Waiting patiently for the stock market to turn, and cryptos are in the buying range, folks. So thank you so much for watching. Follow me at Galaxy Market. Subscribe at YouTube, and like us, share us, and comment. Okay, and if you want to inquire about working with me, send me an email at coachbrandon@protonmail.com. If you want to join my community, it's in the link in the description and profile below. Basic membership, you get all the watch lists and all that fun stuff, and all the commentaries and all the chart analysis. $49 a month. Okay. All right. So let's get some alpha. Enjoy your Monday off, but get some sleep, and let's rock and roll. Bye-bye.